Let's review a look at the FT009 2.4 GHz radio control racing boat. A very commonly cloned boat available in a wide variety of packaging. The price in Australia around about $75 straight from the Chinese producer, anything up to about $140 on the shelf in some nice glossy packaging. Its predecessor, the FT007, a smaller craft I didn't actually own one, but from what I've read in the forums, not quite as well considered. This one is performing extremely well, very popular with most of its users. Recently been superseded by the next model, which takes an 11.1 volt and has a brushless motor. This particular boat has a 7.2 volt power system based on a brushed motor. It comes ready to float, complete with the transmitter, receiver, everything ready to go. Basically put it in the water, turn it on, and off you go. Very good performance for the price mark. This is not going to win races at your local boat racing club where people are serious. This is the perfect boat to give to your kids, perfect boat to give to that cousin for a present. The price is not exorbitant. The capability of the boat is fast enough to be exciting, but not dangerous enough to actually hurt anybody with it. And if you write the damn thing off, then it's no great loss. There's a very comprehensive set of repair parts available through the Chinese resellers with free postage and handling. I myself did some experiments changing the battery power system, managed to burn out a transmitter slant power regulator system. $14, replace that particular part of the boat. You can get replacement hulls, replacement motors, additional batteries, replacement rudder systems. If you're interested in fixing it, you can fix it. If you're not, then you replace it for another $75. It's not a big deal. So an excellent boat to start out with if you're not sure, if you're interested in remote control boats as a hobby. Start here. Start cheap, start easy, start with some fun, and then work out if you want to start throwing down the big bucks for some high performance equipment. Quick look at the specifications for the FT009. Length 46 centimeters. The thing probably weighs a kilo or so when it's zipping around in the water. Battery, the 7.4 volt LiPo. Runtime out of that is around about 5 minutes, give or take, depending on how you flog it. If you just tootle around, then you can get a lot more. If you don't take your finger off the trigger the whole time and lock it back, then possibly somewhat less. Transmitter at 2.4 gigahertz. It's a 2-channel pistol grip. Range around about 80 meters. I assume this thing is frequency hopping because it's able to operate with other of the same boat in the same place once you're bound to the right transmitter. Advertised possibly more than 80 meters. They say 100 to 150. If you want to put that to the test, feel free. I choose not to because it's a heck of a long way to swim to go and get your boat. Although the FT009 is a perfectly satisfactory craft straight out of the box and performs very well for its price category, there are a number of modifications that can be made that can increase the performance and the longevity of the overall system in order to get the most out of this particular boat. First modification I want to talk about is short-circuiting the receiver and motor safety cutout switch. Like most truly problematic things in this world, this started off as a safety feature. You'll find a black and a red wire that go from the receiver unit and the power control, speed controller unit at the front of the boat to 2 bolts at the back of the boat, as demonstrated by the 2 black arrows. What this does is create an electrical circuit when the boat is in the water. So the hull is in the water, the circuit runs through the black and the red wires, the transmitter and the power control system will function. If the boat is not in the water, that particular system will not function. You will not get transmitter control and you will not get the motor running, which is a great cause of concern for many new users of the FT009 because they have it out of the water, they bind the transmitter and the receiver, but nothing happens, and it's because that circuit is not complete. There are a number of different ways of short-circuiting this. The most common one is to pull both the screws out, put the black and the red lead together on the same screw and screw them back down to the hull, joining them together. Simple. There's quite a few YouTube videos on how to do it. I thoroughly recommend it as a technique. Because I've had to replace my receiver unit at one stage, I had the 2 wires loose. Other people have sticky taped them together, have hot glued them together. I chose to strip back the wires, actually solder them together and put heat shrink over the top to guarantee that circuit is always closed, because if for any reason that circuit comes open while the boat is in use, it will come to a dead stop and not come back to life, so you're going to end up getting your feet wet. Another common modification is to address the range of movement problem with the rudder. Not so much a problem, but some people want more extreme steering in their craft. Part of the issue is you'll notice that the servo horn is cut down because it actually hits the edge of the hull. If you want to put a full-length servo horn back on to get a wider range of movement, you're going to have to cut a notch in the hull to allow that horn to go through. There's the possibility of compromising the seal of your upper deck and getting a little bit of water inside. Hasn't been such a problem for my particular boat, the way I cut that notch in. If you do choose to increase the throw through having a longer servo horn, just be aware that you are also shifting the rudder in a more extreme direction, and there are two little knobs on the back of the rudder that limit how far the rudder can throw. You can file those down. You can file down the inside of the rudder limiting, but be conscious of the fact that you are now providing a more extreme throw on your rudder and that your steering will go with it. I haven't quite got mine tuned properly. It throws more in one direction than the other. You can also change which hole on the rudder the servo wire goes to, and that will change the amount of throw in your rudder. The last modification I want to speak to is battery maintenance and being able to tell when to pull your boat out of the water. This is a 7.4 volt 2-cell LiPo pack. Each of those cells should not be drawn down below 3.7. So in reality, you shouldn't draw it down below 7.4 volts. When the battery is fully charged, it should be at about 4.1 volts per cell, or 8.2 for the whole pack. Now, the only way you can tell that you're running your battery down is that you have a sudden drop in performance, that the boat will suddenly slow down and you can just nurse it back into shore. I don't know how far down the battery is drawn at that stage, and I've got a very strong suspicion that you may be overdrawing the battery if you pull it down that far. The simple addition of a battery monitor that you can set to 3.7 volts per cell that will start beeping when you start to draw it down that low means that you know the best time to bring your boat into shore. This will increase the life of your battery exponentially, because every time you pull it down below 3.7 volts, you're potentially shortening the life of the battery. Pull it down below 3 volts per cell, you are unlikely to recover the battery. So for the investment of $3, courtesy of eBay or a Chinese warehouse reseller, and there's a whole pile of internet YouTube videos on how to use a LiPo battery monitor, LiPo battery saver, LiPo battery alarm, whatever they want to refer to it as. This will significantly change the life of your battery and will allow you to get a lot more longevity out of the original set of equipment for the cost of an extra $3. In conclusion, the FT009 represents excellent value for money for the low price point and reasonable performance. Just be aware that this is not a high-end specified racing boat. This is a toy. Few basic modifications will get you some extra performance out of it. Take care of the lithium polymer battery and it'll take care of you with hours of enjoyment.